Hiya peeps, this is Julia from Adventure Geek, and today I'm continuing the educational series that I'm doing, and today's is all about how to get through that last little bit of mileage on a long day, especially if you're doing like a multi-day trip. So if that's of interest to you, I've got 15 tips, so stay tuned for this week's educational slot. So before I actually get into the tips, I just thought I would say that probably the best bit of advice I can give is to learn your limits. So understand where you're going to get that mental challenge. So I know for me, anything over 18 miles, I'm really having to dig deep to get to like the next section or the next little point. So yeah, know your limits. That's the very first thing. So that's not a tip. That's literally the starting point for this. So let's start with tip number 1. So tip number 1, and this is in no particular order, is your good old water. If you're feeling a little bit sluggish and you get into that stage where you're starting to moan a little bit, the first thing to do is to get out your electrolytes. So I use these ones. You can see these ones are little packets. You can get them in the big packets. So I buy them in the big packets and then I just refill these. The key to this is to make sure they're not in your pack, they're in a hip belt pocket or your fanny pack or something like that, but they're easily accessible. So that's the first thing. If you want a quick pick-me-up, electrolytes are the way to go, and I do like these little packets you can get. But that's the same whether you prefer gels or whatever, just make sure that you've got them, in easily accessible area. So first thing, tip number 1, electrolytes. Another quick one is something that I always have on my person. I always keep in my right hand pocket of my Montane Ineo pants, and that is my earbuds or earphones. So there's nothing better than a bit of music or some sort of distraction, whether it's a podcast or audio book, just to get you through that last little bit of miles. And again, if you haven't got them close to hand, you end up not getting them out because it's just too much faff, too much bother, and you might only have like 2 miles to go. But having them close on your person just gives you that instant distraction. And yeah, AirPods or earphones are definitely a way to go. They certainly help me. Tip number 3 is known as the gratitude mile. So one of the other things that gets me through that last little bit is just thinking about all the people out there who literally are not privileged to do something that you're doing today. I know it's a hard slog, I know you're getting through it, but I go through all the things that I'm grateful for, my health, I actually get to do this is fantastic, and just being grateful for the situation that you're in, and just try and change your mindset. I know that's easier said than done when it's a grueling uphill and you've still got a few miles to go. But yeah, it's known as the gratitude mile, and that's tip number 3. Okay, so tip number 4 is to celebrate micro goals. So what do I mean by that? So I'm going to tell you a bit of a story. I learnt this one the hard way, and we was walking the Camino on the very first time I walked the Camino on the very first day. So we was going from St Jean-Pied-de-Port up to the Refuge Orison. If you've ever done that, it is really, really steep and it's a real uphill. And literally it was blazing hot, it was really hot, and it was really tough. It was only about 5 or 6 miles, something ridiculous like that. And anyway, Rachel and Julie were suffering behind me, and I was like on a mission to get going. And there was a little guy underneath a tree. His name was Abel. He was in his 80s. He'd walked the Camino numerous times. He just looked at me and just went, slow down. It's like, right, okay. So I stopped and waited for Julie and Rachel, and they were dripping in sweat. And then he gave them a lesson about talking about micro goals. And basically he was saying, take 10 steps forward, stop, look at each other, celebrate you've done 10 steps, breathe, and then carry on another 10 steps. And that's how they got the last mile done with regards to that particular trip. And it was really, really hot and very, very uncomfortable. So yeah, micro goals are great. So for me nowadays, if I'm on a bigger trip, I will say, right, I'm just going to get to that village, or I'm just going to get to that lamppost, or I'm just going to get to the crest of that hill. But literally don't think about the end place, just think about those little micro journeys and celebrate each one as you go. That was a bit of a longer one, so not all these tips are going to work for everybody, but hopefully with amongst these 15, one of them will work for you. Right, let's crack on with number 5. All right, so number 5 tip is a little bit of a funny one, but you know, if you've walked with me, you'd have done this, and it's literally to stop and take photos and videos and just break it up and look at where you've come from. Always look behind you and celebrate where you've come from. I know you gotta try not to think about where you're going too much, but yeah, taking videos and just appreciating where you are is a really good incentive just to keep going. So that's tip number 5. Number 6, a nice easy one just for distraction. If you're into meditation, then just focus on your breathing. Get into a rhythm, or focus on the sound of your trekking poles on the floor and get into a rhythm. So that really works for me as well. But the breathing thing, fantastic, I love that, but I appreciate that's not for everybody. Number 7 is a nice and easy one, and it's just smile at people that you're passing, say hi, go out of your way even if you're not feeling it. And I tell you why, it's something to do with smiling actually does something to do with your neurons in your brain. I can't remember what. I'm sure there's someone out there who knows the scientific research on it, but actually just making yourself smile. So I have a little secret which is a bit weird. If you see me smiling to myself, it's because I've told myself a joke. So I have this joke in my head, which is a really easy one, which is, what's brown and sticky? A stick. And that always makes me laugh. So if I'm feeling really down, I just say that to myself, put a little smile on my face, even if I have to force it. And yeah, that tends to work for me as well. So you may not know this, but if you are stressed, if you're anxious, if you're tight, your body will tire a lot quicker. So you need to relax, try and be smooth, which is where the breathing helps. But whatever works for you to help yourself relax, then that is definitely a really good tip as well. So even if it's just rolling out the muscles and stopping and rolling out those muscles, but get yourself relaxed. Whether that's a mental thing or whether it's aching in your body, try and get yourself relaxed, because that'll help you get through those last few miles. I've now lost count of numbers, so I'm just going to crack on with these. So the next one is to practice. I know that sounds crazy, but what is it that you really don't like? Do you not like walking in the rain? Do you not like walking in the blazing heat? Do you hate hills? So practice and training in those situations is going to be what gets you through these things. You know you can do it. So yeah, if you don't like something, train and go and do it. Do it with your full pack on. Perhaps you don't like walking with something heavy on your pack, but you're going to have to when you're out on the trail. Then train with that as well. So go out hiking in all sorts of weathers, and get that under your belt, because that's building that mental muscle constantly, and that's going to help you on the trail. So the next one, and I see people do this all the time, is that they don't eat. So don't just keep going. You know, if you feel fatigued, then perhaps grab a Snickers bar, and again have something that's close on your body. So I've always got some sort of protein bar or Snickers or little dime bars, whatever it is, in my pack, just easily accessible. So yeah, make sure that you're eating on a regular basis. You know, your body might be craving salt, it might be craving sugar, you really don't know. So have a mixture of stuff. Trail mix is really good. So I've got trail mix on me today. I haven't got it on me today, but I do a trail mix which has nuts, M&Ms, it has a bit of everything. So fruit, dried mango, that sort of stuff. I've always usually got that with me in my pocket somewhere, that's easily accessible for a long hike. Trail mix is a good one. All right, so my next one is poles. Okay, so if you walk with walking poles, or if you've perhaps got a tent that goes up with walking poles, then if you're feeling tired, just get your walking poles out. It's amazing how different it feels when you can put a little bit of weight, and it takes the pressure off your hips, it takes the pressure off your feet, just using those poles. And as I've already said, poles are great for rhythm, just to keep that rhythm going. So yeah, get your poles out, and if you're feeling tired, that's a really good solution, just to give your body a little bit of a break, but get you through those last few miles. Right, we're all different, and things work in different ways for different people. So for me, Sometimes sitting down, just taking my shoes and socks off and changing my socks. I don't know, it's like, you know, people say you always feel better if you wash your hair if you're not very well or something. For me, changing my socks has the same sort of effect. So whatever it is that makes you feel good, even if it is putting on a fresh pair of socks, then do it. Sit down, take 5 minutes, change your socks, air your feet. Brilliant. Okay, so this will will be different for different people. I always have a peace pebble. Oops. A peace pebble in my pocket. I don't know if you can see that there. It's really nice and smooth. It's made of poly clay or something like that. And I've got it in my pocket, and I've always, that sounds wrong when I say I'm fiddling with it in my pocket, but you know what I mean. It's a bit like a meditation pebble. It's called a peace pebble, but it doesn't have to be a peace pebble or anything like that. It could be, some people have worry beads or rosemary beads or something like that. I've seen these rings that people have got, which are like anxiety rings that have got little beads on them, and you can just fiddle with them. Or perhaps a fidget spinner, something that you can have in your hand that's tangible, that will help distract you and help you focus on what it is you're doing as well at the same time. So for me, it's a peace pebble. For you, it might be something different, but yeah, hope that one helps. All right, and my last one, which I think is 15, but I may be wrong, is just remember why you're doing it. Why are you doing this walk in the first place? Why are you doing this long distance trail? Is there a reason? Everyone has a reason. Everyone has a story as to why they're out there. What's yours? Just remember that on that very last mile, when everything's aching and you're thirsty, you're hungry, you can't wait to get a decent shower. Just remember why you're doing it. Alright, so that's me done for this week's educational video. If you have any other tips, and I'm sure there are hundreds out there, these are just the things that work for me. You know, if one doesn't work, then I work down to my next one. I have these in a list in notes on my phone. So when I am getting to that stage, literally I've just got them up on my notes, and then I can pick one of the things and see if that works. So as I say, know your limits. I know mine is 18. If I'm pushing anything more than that, then I get a bit grumpy. So yeah, please put your comments below if you know of any other little tips and tricks that just get you through those last couple of miles. Then please share so that we can all learn together. Thanks very much for listening to my rambles, and I will see you on the next one. Don't forget to hit that like button if you like these tips, and also subscribe. I'm looking to get to 2,000. That would be awesome. Subs, if you're watching this on YouTube, that would be great. Much appreciated. Don't forget to get outside, get inspired, go take a hike when you can, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, everyone. Ta-da. Bye-bye.